The fact of the matter is, folks, that the inflation battle has been won. Pause, repeat the line. The inflation battle has been won.
Joining a fan club with my friends, filling our battles with t-shirts and a Biden. Looks so dreamy, I'm in love from afar.
Welcome back to the daily late night bludgeon session with your host, Charlie. This morning, the Economic Times reported that Meta is asking managers to identify people for layoffs. Unfortunately, I don't think that Zuckerberg is going to be cut. Firstly, they have a big deal with the Mart of Wall, where Walmart ordered 4,500 electric delivery vans with an option to buy up to 10,000 of them. Secondly, Walmart is acting like a jealous little overbearing girlfriend and blocking them from selling to Amazon as well. It's kind of like if you went back to your family and you're like, hey, I earned 50% less this quarter, but that's actually good news because you were expecting 55% less. Technically, you lost 50% of your income, but it wasn't nearly as bad as your wife was expecting, so maybe she'll let you move back into the bedroom. That couch sure is uncomfortable, ain't it? And if you look at the last decade, you're seeing real earnings drop at a pace that makes the Great Recession blush. Makes it blush like a young schoolgirl that just met her first crush. That cute Jerome Pow Pow across the hall. She likes him because he seems so carefree. He believes that even if he doesn't study, the teacher can just give an infinite amount of A's, right? And there's no ramifications. The percent of global fund managers that think global profits will improve is bleaker than Blinky McGee. And that guy was pretty damn bleak. Here's what she said, quote, "I do think there are downside risks to the American economic growth. But in spite of those risks, I really think it is quite likely that the US economy is going to pick up steam and revert back to trend growth before 2007 comes to an end." Sadly, that was wrong, and the biggest recession that we had had since World War II actually started before the end of 2007. But to be fair, that was the last we heard of Janet Yellen. She would never again be given a higher position of power. Well, besides this time, and then also this time. She goes on to say, "I am increasingly optimistic when we are into 2008 that everyone will see that the central banks did the right thing." One day later, at the very end of 2007, Charlie, who had just finished biting people's fingers for YouTube views before the invention of fiery thumbnails, warned that it's time to take a moment's break. November 4th, 2008, ABC reports that the Fed hires a failed bank executive from the collapsed bank Bear Stearns. ABC makes the comparison that the Fed just hired the guy that was in charge of yelling iceberg before the Titanic hit it. He did such a good job spotting that iceberg, maybe we should hire him to spot other icebergs. Obviously, they don't just have bottled diabetes, they also have bottled water, which in many ways is actually more of an insult to the consumer than bottled diabetes, because at least when you have to make bottled diabetes, like you're making some sort of product. With this other one, you're just bottling water. And to quote the great Oracle of Omaha directly, Mr. Warren Buffett himself, well, he once said that whenever Charlie sees opportunity in a stock, you better get your short positions ready because that shite's going down. I got my bachelor's degree in economics, and I remember freshman year of Econ 101 on the very first day. They defined recession, and this was the definition. But I must have missed the day where they said, oh, you could actually change the definition as you please. And I went to UC Santa Cruz, where half the professors came higher than the CPI report. I can already see the press releases next year. Yes, we just came off 6 contractionary quarters. But holistically, the president feels like we're doing pretty well. He just had a nap, which means Americans have a lot of leisure opportunity. And that means they have a lot of extra money and they must be doing good. That's called holistic analysis, folks. Well, we're not in a recession. Oh, a recession isn't really a recession. It's actually an expansion in disguise. Just remember that when you lose your job at the end of the year and you gotta pay $5 million for a Pop-Tart and a biscuit. Again, this was not supposed to happen. We were told again and again, no, consumers have more money now than ever before. No, consumers are doing healthier than ever. No, consumers can pay increased prices. No, this is the best economy in the history of the United States. No, you were stupid if you were feeling pain. You are wrong. This is the best economy ever. Anybody that says differently is trying to spread a conspiracy. So it is official, we now have 2 contracting quarters of GDP, 6 months of a contracting economy. If only there was some sort of word that describes this period of time. Something that starts with like an R and rhymes with like concession. I feel like there was some sort of word for this. I just can't remember what it is. Oh wait, yeah, that's right. The White House got rid of that earlier this week. And just in time too, what a coincidence. But in fact, we're still way above where we should be with this deficit, and the United States is basically spending like a financial crack addict. hi, I'm America and I have a spending problem. And Greece is in the corner like, hi, Charlie's a bigot against the Greek people. No, we love the Greeks here at ZipTrader. Quote, after many months of negotiations, we have finalized legislative text that will invest approximately $300 billion in deficit reduction and $369.75 billion in energy security and climate change programs over the next 10 years. My favorite line here is investing $300 billion in deficit reduction. My solution to the spending problem is to spend more to fix the spending problem. Fan-freaking-tastic strategy. But I would still focus on the chart and focus on how well it is breathing. Buy when it's going. Think about a runner in a marathon. If the runner doesn't breathe, you know they are going to pass out and die. It's the same thing with the stock market. Overall uptrend with frequent deep breaths. I think it's quite frankly disgusting when people say, oh, the stock has to go up constantly day after day so I can make my dirty little money while the stock doesn't get a second chance to breathe. Pretty sure that's a human rights violation, and an international watchdog is going to require that most countries put some sanctions on your ass. Wednesday, Vimeo, Tupperware Skills. Thursday, Carvana, Beyond Meat, and Redfin. Friday, DraftKings, and GoGo. Wake me up before you go, because I don't want to leave me hanging like a yo-yo. I sometimes moonlight as a singer at an empty disco bar. And every single person that yelled at you on social media because, oh, you're a weak little paper-handy child for going and taking in profits when it was running is going to be begging you for some extra cash to pay off the margin because they're about to lose their house. And you're going to look at them and you're going to say, boo-hoo, I took profits. I'm not just a degenerative gambler. I am a strategic degenerative gambler. You have all these shorts that were betting that Revlon, Revlon, would be gutted like an animal carcass. But then there's this judge saying, wait, stop. You can't eat off those bones anymore. We're gonna protect this dead animal carcass. I mean, quite frankly, the judge was so biased that they even let Revlon move forward with their bonus plan. Substantially more audits and enforcement action to bring in more capital. The Congressional Budget Office says the estimated revenue brought in from this is uncertain, but could yield approximately $200 billion. Spending $80 billion in order to get $200 billion, which is a profit of $120 billion. Luckily, the IRS doesn't have to pay taxes on their profits. And thus, the share price for all of the Charlie shares are now registered at $50, which means that in terms of market cap, the market cap of Charlie shares in totality is considered to be $5,000, which is just almost enough to buy an avocado toast down in Santa Monica. And as the great Greek philosopher Plato once said, one meme tide lifts all meme boats. And overall, that is exactly what happened, and people say that philosophy is no longer relevant. But on the other hand, maybe I'm just trying to earn my nickname FUD Trader. I like that one better than ZipTrader. I had a pimple once and everybody's like, this isn't ZipTrader, this is ZitTrader. And so the question I want to address in this video is, should you be Bed Bath and fond of Bed Bath & Beyond? And to do so, this video will be in 4 violent sections. And it is worth mentioning that while we have covered this ticker on the channel and in the daily ZipTrader U-Morning briefings, well, the truth is that the Charlie effect, the Charlie curse, doesn't really take hold on a stock until I make an official video on the setup. In other words, after I make this video, Bed Bath & Beyond may very well be Bed Bath & bombed. If you thought Hiroshima was bad, wait until you see Charlie Shima. So Bed Bath & Beyond was certainly on fire this morning. I thought about driving down to their store and getting one of those little misty fans that they sell to cool myself down because I just couldn't take all the heat, but alas, I found it cheaper on Amazon. Maybe the shorts have a point. The speed at which it broke not just 20 but deep past 25 is something that the best gamma squeezes are made of. Yesterday I told you the story about how my grandma effectively grandma squeezed the company by collecting tons of their coupons and then deploying them in mass. But unlike a grandma squeeze, a gamma squeeze is actually quite good for the share price. Thus, buy orders were chasing the few shares available to higher and higher and higher pricing levels. Oof, it's just beautiful, isn't it? Some people like the Mona Lisa, but for me, I like the Squeezy McSqueeze charts. My take is that you want to make sure that you don't end up Bed Bath and bag holding. Who cares if somebody on Reddit or Twitter makes fun of you because, oh no, you didn't hold to the moon? For this setup, give it some time to cool down and breathe, and let's see what happens. We are currently in what we'd call a Bart Simpson formation, which is Warren Buffett's favorite pattern. He uses this pattern to find some of his biggest value plays. Same with GME, same with Ooga Booga AMC. But now that interest rates are going up, the consumer is less stimulated, and the used car market is slowing down as a result, Well, the losses are starting to be staggering, right? They are burning through cash so fast that you would think that an arsonist was running this company. I saw this comment the other day and it said this: Charlie is a total clown. Literally said triple BY can run through 20 to 25 fast, and now that it has done that, they is saying consider take profit / having risk management on dips. This video is sponsored by short sellers. Now, full disclosure, I do moonlight at the local circus, so this isn't a completely BS comment. Meanwhile, you have consumer confidence dumping faster than the CEO of a meme stock dumps his shares. And that's pretty damn fast. Coupon code expires just around the corner, Labor Day. If only the recession would expire on Labor Day too. Substantial proof that inflation is down, not just a pansy drop. A lot of people say, oh, it's all about the pansies. But it's not about the pansies with Mr. Jerome Powell. He was a pansy, now he's trying not to be a pansy. Powell doesn't want to be a transitory pansitory. Has resulted in a retention of value significantly higher than the previous one, with the stock trying to attempt upward again. And feel free to call me high maintenance, I am proud of it. I like to see stocks that show some damn proof of concept. I don't want little dead dogs on the side of the street and you're like, oh, you want a puppy? And I'm like, no, actually, I'd rather not have that one. That one's dead. So let's take a step back for a second and look at this guy's picture. Imagine if you were trying to get into a bar or club and this guy, Mr. Neil Kashkari, was the bouncer. And he was like, hey, bro, you're not getting in. Would you try to push past him and rush towards the door? If he said that to me, I'd be like, ooh, okay, no problem. I'm going straight home. Don't worry about me. But markets are seeing this guy at the door and they're looking at him like, LOL, you're not going to do shite. And he's like, you better not come in. You better not come in. And they're like, ha ha. And then they just rush right through the door. I don't know about you, but I am not familiar with anything in regards to Chengdu. I don't even know if that's how you really pronounce it. I honestly don't even recall knowing that this place existed before today. It must have come up somewhere, but I really don't remember the city. So to me, when the media is reporting, oh, we just locked down Chengdu, I'm like, what? Where? What's that? Is that a food? That doesn't sound very tasty. People shouldn't be eating any Chengdu. But Chengdu is not a small city. It has a population of 21 million people. If you take American city populations, that's like if you combined the populations of New York City, LA, Chicago, Houston, Phoenix, and Philadelphia all together. The city is also known for their giant panda sanctuary, which means if you're bullish on pandas, these lockdowns are even more devastating, right? And I am always bullish on pandas, so I'm really a bag holder here. Folks, Europe is collapsing. It is heading off a cliff without a parachute. In fact, it's getting so bad that I don't even know if there's going to be a Europe anymore by the end of next year. In France, they're already talking about selling the Eiffel Tower just to pay the energy bill. In Italy, they are already starting to discontinue pasta, and pizza is next. Both big energy gobblers. In England, they are thinking of selling the Queen and, of course, shutting off the power in Buckingham Palace. And don't you even ask what they are about to do in Germany with those damn pretzels. It uses way too much energy to roll that dough to perfection. And to be quite frank with you folks, you need to watch this video to entirety, or I'm afraid that you too may collapse just like Europe, which is to say quite a lot. Quite a lot indeed. I am not the most emotional person in the world, but every time I see a utility bill, I cry a little bit. Don't get me started on those damn property taxes. My thought process was we were looking for proof of concept that the squeeze setup would actually fulfill what needs to happen in order to, well, actually realize a tradable squeezy McSqueezy. If you find a setup that is very appealing, but it doesn't flirt back with you by showing any interest at all in actually moving where you want it to move, then the odds are against you and you should just back off and find another setup that is actually flirting back and showing interest. What pisses me off is a lot of traders will go and they'll look at a stock and they'll go right up to that stock and say, oh, you are so cute. Ooh, I want you. And the stock will look back at them and say, ew, you are disgusting. Get out of my face, you loser. And the trader will respond by doing what? Throwing thousands upon thousands of dollars at that stock. And they are confused at why they've just lost all that money and why it didn't work out. Now, to conclude this particular segment, I know this is a super small cap, so I have to make sure that I'm very clear that we were not bribed to talk about this. I did not receive a back rub from any company to talk about this, although my back is a little bit sore. Everything is just great. The leaders in the world, they're handling everything perfectly. No, folks, that is just not the truth. And if you believe believe that you are going to be handed your rear end on a platter and you're going to be like, hey, actually, I'm vegan. And because the USD is skyrocketing, you have a lot of countries' central banks going and trying to follow very, very close behind what our Fed does and what Jerome Take Our House Powell is deciding. More people than ever before see the need to buy insurance on their positions, see the need to hedge against more downside. And this is in a market that had bottomed out in the summer. LOL. Folks, this morning the consumer was officially pronounced dead. Cause of death, uncontrollable inflation. Doctors said the illness was transitory, then they said it was in remission. Well, now it's too late and the patient is dead. Oh, Charlie, are you trying to say that dolphins are smarter than humans? Yes, I am, and that's a fact. They don't have currencies that inflate at this rate. Keep in mind, folks, this is the CPI, which a lot of people accuse of being the CP lie and accuse of underreporting data. They say the CPI inflation shows that you're dealing with a Kevin Hart, whereas the real inflation is actually like a Shaq. And I don't know about you, but if Jerome Powell was fighting one of these two, I would want to know the truth of which one it is, because that would change who I would bet on winning. Actually, no, in both cases, Jerome Powell would still probably lose. Tuesday, you have LMAO. Yes, great ticker name. I don't see any signs of the fundamental issues: inflation, the Fed, supply chain constraints, the Ukraine war, my neck pain that I had from sleeping on the wrong side of the bed this morning. I don't see any of those issues showing any convincing sign of letting off right now. So the analogy that I would make about this current market is, imagine you're on a plane and it's going down fast. And then analysts stop and say, wait, hey, at least the plane is still in the air at this moment, right? Bullish. How does Mullen seemingly have unlimited money to keep acquiring interest in more and more companies? Well, that dirty D word, dilution, and donuts, but mostly dilution. Because European city streets are very, very small, little cars like these are apparently used a lot and are in high demand for last mile deliveries, ones that can kind of move around and get through the tiny little old crevice streets in Europe. And look, I mean, this dude looks pretty happy. Would he be that happy if it wasn't a true thesis? I mean, look, wait, I know how I can make this a little bit more scrumptious. Oof, how'd they get such a good looking model? Wow. Mullen, bullish. Pretty soon borrowing costs are going to be so high that if you take out $1, you're going to have to pay $100 in yearly interest. And Biden's going to be like, come on, man, the economy's strong as hell. They said 1 in 5 Americans doubted whether they would have enough money to cover the cost of Thanksgiving this year. Oh, I know what we can give thanks for this year: $300 bird meat. Apparently, Gen Z is going to swap turkey for soup, salad, and pizza. Next year, pizza will cost you $25K a slice, and you'll have to pay a reverse windfall tax to pay for your neighbor Susan's basket weaving degree. They are going to martyr you. You are going to be collateral damage in this massive war. Your 401Ks will turn into 401 cries. Your IRAs will turn into goodbye-ras. If you have a pension, you will be lucky if they pay you out in biscuits. Whereas with the Powell rule, you have Jerome Powell going and eating his breakfast cereal, and based on the number of Cheerios left in the bowl after he's full, well, that's the level of rate hikes you're going to get at the next meeting. 7.5 Cheerios left, well, 75 basis points. And then when it comes out the other end, hey, that's time to pivot. You know what? It gets clicks, right? And by the way, this kind of clickbait is unacceptable and cringy, and it's almost as bad as some dumb YouTuber in a suit going and titling his video, "Oh, insanity incoming 7 straight weeks in a row." Like, hasn't insanity already come? Haven't we already had enough of it? Stop with the damn insanity incoming. Oh, I guess I gotta watch it before market open too, don't I? I just can't believe some people these days, the nerve. And moreover, do you think that the Fed actually has the macadamia nuts to get to a 7% policy rate? Hell no. How you create an economy where only the wealthiest corporations survive and everybody else, you get the middle finger. I don't actually want to show the middle finger because then YouTube's going to give me the middle finger. It's trendy for people not to like billionaires and for people to call them greedy. Well, don't you worry though. You see Sam Highhorse Fried, he's not like the other billionaires. He's earning to give.
Sam will tell you he's always wanted to get rich, but not for the reasons you might expect. All that money, he plans to give most of it away to charity.
He paid Bill Clinton to speak at a conference, who based on this pin, I guess, is the former president of Ukraine. I'm not sure. You can let me know who he is. But of course, the everyday people are like, oh, he drives a Toyota Corolla, so I guess that means that he's altruistic. He doesn't care about the moolah.
If there's ever a place I could be that I'm not going to get in trouble, it's going to be at FTX.
We are hoping to introduce and celebrate FTX as a company whose mission since founding was to make the greatest impact for good.
Are you looking for a platform that you could brag to your friends as making a difference in the world? a platform that makes sure your dollars go very, very far, and with a founder who has given away most of his fortune, at least in a sense. Well, if so, make sure to check out FTX with our link down below. If you've tried STD, oof, you'll love FTX. It's just like STD, but a lot more contagious and a lot less fun to get. But my biggest suggestion to you going into the next 2 years is stop focusing on what to invest in, but learn how to hunt. Learn some basic survival skills because, quite frankly, I mean, we're only a few hundred basis points away from living like prehistoric humans. In my very scientific opinion, any analyst that suggests that 2023 is going to be a booming year with all of these data points, well, they must have simply been dropped on the head as a baby, probably several times. Whoops, oh no, ooh, Butterfingers, Johnny fell on the ground, and then 20 years later, what happens? He becomes the lead editor of CNBC. LOL, trade MMAT and MMTLP. Charlie is so stupid. That's exactly what the hedge funds want. Stop scamming people and tell them to do what's right. Buy and hodl. Charlie is boot and paid for. Proof. He says trade instead of hold. I hope Charlie goes to hell. Oh no, I won't be able to sleep for months. Now, I'm a fan of the Muskmeister and his goal of free speech and less censorship on big tech platforms. They have far too much power. You can't ignore the fact that Musk oftentimes pushes the lines a little bit farther than necessary. He seems to go out of his way to make himself controversial. This type of stuff is going to make a lot of people think, hey, maybe he's actually trying to push his own deeper agenda, right? And if that agenda doesn't align with theirs, then boom, they are no longer your fan and you lose them. I know many people that see these Elon Musk tweets and think, hell yeah, you show them. Folks, insanity incoming. Welcome to the last trading week of 2022, a year of severe financial constipation. This has been quite the humdinger of a year. This is the first year where I was thinking, maybe life isn't so short after all. In fact, maybe it's a little bit too long. On the bright side, though, Santa may be coming this year, but instead of going ho, 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 he might be going ho, ho, no. Why are they saying this? Well, the reason they are saying this is the same reason that your real estate agent isn't going to tell you the housing market is about to tank right before you buy a house. 2022 is a year of getting your rear end cheek hairs ripped out one by one, day after day, and the ripper laughing about it. Don't worry, they'll grow back. It's only transitory. Anyways, folks, that caps off today's video. I hope you have a very happy New Year's, and we will see you in the next one.